Good evening, everyone. And if you've been watching Media Day, you've probably gotten tired of seeing me and Rich, but it's another edition of the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show we do every Sunday. And Richard, this one's no different. The regular season finally came to an end for most of the teams. Playoffs started for a few teams, and now playoffs really going to get underway here in the next couple weeks for everyone. And we are excited as regular season is done around the Tri-City area. Can you believe it? Football regular season is done around this area.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say if you are watching this after watching the Basketball Media Day, this is not pre-recorded. We are still going strong after 7 hours.
From the Beck Center.
From the Beck Center. Media coverage for basketball. But Week 12's in the books. I'm excited because we got playoffs in Alabama. And we don't have a whole lot of games. And we have some big-time games, some firsts. Russell County hosting a home playoff game for the first time since 1998. Glenwood making their AHSAA debut in the playoffs. And then in this area for Georgia, we only have two GIAA schools. Now, the GHSA schools, all the schools that were affected by Hurricane Helene, are going to play a final Week 13. And then the playoffs for the GHSA will start on November 15th.
And we had some playoff games that happened last Friday.
That's right.
As we had one of them on Georgia Alabama Sports Live, but had a lot of fun today here at the Beck Center.
Yeah.
Started at 1 o'clock, 1:15,
Oh, man.
and went 7 hours strong, 32 teams. And then also we had CVCC men's and women's basketball programs. What a way to kickstart the basketball season. And, of course, you got it on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Thank you to Only Colga for making an appearance. So we appreciate them for being a part of our third annual Courier Echo Latino Basketball Media Day. Any thoughts on that before we talk some high school football?
Well, Thrift, as many people know, that Thrift Behringer was a star point guard at Glenwood.
Shooting guard, and I don't know about star.
Okay, shooting guard. Yeah, but you were a guard, and you had the 14 threes in a, was it 14 threes in a game? I mean, the bottom line is what I'm trying to make my point. I kind of dragged my point, the fact that you love basketball. And I love basketball, too. I think that the amount of games that we live stream on Georgia Alabama Sports Live last season was phenomenal. I think that we're just going to continue to grow. And I'm looking at some of the schedules, and I'm excited.
Sign me up, man.
Yeah, sign me up for starting, Central and Shaw starting off this weekend on Saturday.
And that will be our first basketball game that we do for this season. It's going to be on Saturday for Central and Shaw, 1:30 and 3 p.m. You'll get it here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Some other things that are happening before we get into high school football. We're going to recap Week 12. We're also going to drop our new rankings, and then we're going to preview the games that we know are happening this week in playoffs. And then, of course, in Georgia, for those schools that were affected by Hurricane Helene, they don't play, like you said, till November 15th. So we have several teams that are not playing it on a bye.
Right.
But we are talking about that in just a moment. As I may mention this week, tomorrow we got a tri-match. We got Hardaway Spencer in Harris County. In the county, Richard, you'll be on the call for that on Monday. We also got the Calvary and Glenwood Coaches Show. Tuesday, it's election night. I don't know if you know that or not, Richard.
Yeah,
You've been living under a rock, but there's something happening within the country that people care about.
That's the one day that no one's going to watch sports.
Yeah,
everybody's going to be watching the election coverage.
You should watch Kudzu Sports Show. And the Kudzu Sports Show with Rick Beach is going to talk about the state championship winning Harris County softball program. How about
there
that?
we go.
Coach Brandon Jenkins, 3 straight years, 2 straight with Northside, and then takes over Harris County, wins the state championship there. All this guy does is win, man.
Yeah, it was incredible just to see them celebrate. They beat Eastside in the championship. Second championship for Harris County in softball since the year 2000. And congratulations to Coach Brandon Jenkins. Northside had a very good season. I mean, they did lose to Eastside. I was actually there for that game. By the way, in the main stadium on Friday night, Northside took on Harris County. The place was packed. That was probably the most attended fans I've ever seen pack that stadium. But I've been at the softball field for big events, the NAIA World Series. We had the GIAA softball playoffs. I mean, they've had some college showcases. They've had USA softball there. I mean, this was probably I don't know if I've ever seen it this packed before. It was just incredible.
Yeah, incredible to be able to see all the support and everything. And we're looking forward to being able to do that on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we have, of course, our tri-match in flag football. Brookstone, Columbus, and Pacelli, all those teams. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be on the call for that one. Thursday, another tri-match in Columbus. Friday, we, of course, have a lot of fun in doing Brookstone and Stratford. We for sure have that, and we may have another game, but on the different platform. We will not be able to stream any of the Alabama playoff teams. So Russell County Central and, of course, Glenwood. I'm sorry, everyone. We will not be able to do that. And then Saturday, we got basketball, of course. So we'll talk with them, and we'll talk about that there in just a moment, Richard. But cannot wait to recap. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Week 12 recap here on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show.
GMC SUVs, GMC SUVs. On sale now at Glenn Smith GMC in Opelika. The GMC Terrain, the compact SUV with seating for 5. And now discounted up to $6,500 off. The full-size GMC Yukons, discounted up to $9,000 off. Choose from almost 200 new GMCs. Get your best price every day on the lot or online at glennsmith.com.
Get ready to smile.
Georgia Alabama Sports Live is proud to partner with one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock. And without this partnership, it would be hard to be able to live stream all the different sporting events at high schools, colleges, and local professional teams every single week like we do. So we thank Buffalo Rock for their support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And next time you're watching a Georgia Alabama Sports Live broadcast, make sure you're drinking a nice, refreshing Pepsi. Delicious. Thank you to Buffalo Rock and Pepsi.
Glenn Smith Chevrolet is loaded with over 500 new and used on the lot and on the way. Check out the big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs, discounted up to $9,000 off. And you'll love the stylish SUV that has plenty of room for the whole family. Chevy Tahoe's up to $9,000 off. Come to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika for big discounts with a fantastic selection. Or explore anytime, anywhere at glennsmith.com.
Get ready to smile.
My name is Sergeant Jason Swells, and this is my CVCC story. Class sizes were not too large. The professors in each class had time to talk. It was almost like a one-on-one experience. One of my daughters is a student at CVCC right now. She's going through the arts program.
Welcome back, everyone, to looking forward to talking about some of the games that we were able to do last week, including Spencer at Hardaway. I was there for that one. The Spencer Green Waves got a great win against Hardaway Hawks, 25-20. That puts them at 7-3. Hardaway's now 4-6. They're still waiting for if they're going to make the playoffs. Spencer's just waiting on their opponent. They're going to be in, and I think they're going to be hosting at least a first-round matchup. But for Hardaway, they're going to have to wait. It's going to be tough. They're right on the edge. Right at the final mark to maybe make it, but at 4-6, it's going to be tough getting them in there.
And if they do make it, they might be paired up with the number one team in 2A, which right now is Pierce County. It could be Carver. We could see Hardaway Carver in the first round because, remember, they go off of your rankings. The top two teams get the 16 seeds, and then if you look at the playoff format, they rank everybody 1 through 32.
In that game, Spencer was up 18-0 at halftime, then 25-0 at a kickoff return for a touchdown. But then Hardaway stormed back, led by Bobby Gary. Markel Benton had over 100 yards rushing, and they were driving and they were deep in Spencer territory, and almost scored a touchdown that would have gave them the lead. And what an upset that would have been. But great win for Coach Kego's team. That's 3 straight years with 7 wins or more. That's a 700 winning percentage in 3 straight seasons. Back-to-back region champs, and then this year making the playoffs. Coach Kego's got a program that is built to sustain success. That is a huge phrase in being successful in high school sports. Shaw defeated Jordan 54-0, and they are 5-5, and I pretty much have locked the playoff spot.
Absolutely.
They'll be on the road, but how about Coach Gardner's team? A win improvement from last year's 4-6 record and making the playoffs again, back-to-back seasons in the first 2 years under his belt.
Yeah, there's no question that Shaw has made drastic improvements under Coach Gardner, and he's got a dual-threat quarterback in Aaron Grant, and also just great defense led by Sincere Ford. I think that Shaw is one of these teams that could maybe surprise some people, maybe sneak a playoff win on the road. But we'll see who they get matched up with, especially with a lot of these talented 2A teams. I mean, I'm looking at like some of the brackets they came out. I mean, they could end up playing Sumter County. I mean, because it doesn't matter if you were in the same region. They just rank the teams the way they see them.
Moving forward, those are the two games that happened on Thursday. On Friday, Central of Carrollton took care of business against Northside. Northside finishes 5-5 and aren't going to be in the playoffs. Kind of in my opinion, I had them going 8-2. A little bit of a letdown from what I expected from this team, but great careers by Kingston Rivers, Jay Jackson, and Caden Clay as the Patriots in their year at 500.
And by the way, Central won the region because Stars Mill lost to Jonesboro.
I know it. And Stars Mill technically is the 3 seed.
Unbelievable.
A team that has been ranked in the top 4, beat everybody, and lost to Jonesboro. Jonesboro then, if I'm correct, moved up to the 2 seed.
Yes, they did.
And number 3 is Stars Mill, 4 Harris County.
That tells you how tough that region is.
I mean, unbelievable. And now Central of Carrollton, they're going to be region champs. I mean,
unbelievable.
And Harris County 7-3, they're a 4 seed. They're, I think, the best 4 seed in the state this year, Richard.
But we know they're going to play Creekside on the road in the first round.
So looking at that, Central Carrollton 5-1, Jonesboro 5-1, Stars Mill 5-1, and they all finished tied. And Central Carrollton gets the tiebreaker. Jonesboro 2, Stars Mill 3. Stars Mill 9-0, 5-0. And they're not even going to be hosting a playoff game. That's how tough this region
my goodness.
is. Unreal. Carver just smoked Kendrick 9-1, and they are the best team, and I think have the best chance in our area to win a state championship. Good win for the Carver Tigers. It's kind of a tune-up game for the playoffs.
And I think that it boosts their chance with Morgan County losing to Callaway. Morgan County at some rankings was the number 2 team in all of 2A. I think that it boosts Carver up to at least number 2. I still think Pierce County is going to be the number 1 overall team. But a lot of the projections have got Carver as the second best team in 2A. And remember, there's nothing going to be official until the regular season is officially over next week. So they cannot put out any playoff brackets. All we see right now is just people's projections.
Again, we are presented by the Beck Center and, of course, Glenn Smith Chevrolet and GMC and Pepsi. Get ready to smile for Glenn Smith.
Get ready to smile and get ready to drink a Pepsi.
And there we go. Keep moving forward. You see some of the other games. Mike Peacock was on the call as Glenwood finishes undefeated.
There we go.
You and Noah have to eat crow.
Yeah, we do.
Noah said 3-7, I think. You said, what, 5-5? I had 7-3, and they finished 9-0.
That's not the biggest whiff of the night. I completely whiffed when I thought that Levi Pender was number 7. On Basketball Media Day. I had to eat crow on that one. Levi Pender, who was part of Basketball Media Day today, outstanding job as a quarterback. I mean, he's just setting the Glenwood season on fire. I think that they are going to be ready. They're going to take on Alabama Christian Academy at home for a home playoff game. Just the way that they were ranked winning the region, they're going to have guaranteed at least 2 home playoff games. Looking at the bracket, I think Glenwood could go pretty far. I'm thinking at least to the quarterfinals, semifinals. I mean, the sky's the limit for the Glenwood Gators that went undefeated. I mean, they really have not been battle-tested since the first game when they took on Valley. Now they're taking on the best that 3A has to offer, and I think they could go as far as they can go. I mean, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because they were ranked number 7 in the latest rankings, and there's a lot of talented teams in 3A. But yeah, congratulations to the Glenwood
You're telling
Gators.
me there's 6 teams better than them. Good luck. But look at Glenwood right now, Richard. They are going to be hosting their playoff game this Friday night as they take on Alabama Christian Academy, the 4 seed from another region. We will not be able to broadcast that, but it may be on another platform
Possibly.
that we will be help streaming that. So we'll definitely have highlights of that game. But Glenwood finishes undefeated. Good win for Coach Nelson's team. Sumter County dominated Columbus. They finished 2-8 in Coach Robert Peters' first year.
Yeah.
Russell County took down Beauregard and another team that surprised a lot of people. 8-2
Wow.
this year. Bryson Riggins had over 35 touchdowns, and he is vying for Player of the Year this year. But a great win and great season for Russell County, and they get to host a playoff game this Friday night. How about that, Richard?
Yeah, I'm just blown away by what Coach Dylan Griggs has done in his 4th season as the Russell County head football coach. I mean, there's something special about just the Russell County Warriors atmosphere in Seal, Alabama. They love their Russell County Warriors. They're going to be taking on Northridge, hosting a home playoff game for the first time since 1998. Northridge out of Tuscaloosa, who is 7-3. I do think Russell County is going to win their first home playoff game. And then I think that they might host actually, I think they go on the road in the second round because they were ranked second in their region. But if they're able to win 2 playoff games, there's a chance they could meet Saraland in the quarterfinal. And Saraland is the favorites to win the state championship in 6A. As you remember, Ryan Williams played for them last year. They've always been featured on ESPN as one of the top teams in Alabama. I think that would just be great for the program to actually face a school like Saraland. And I think that what Coach Griggs is building, and with Bryson Riggins only being a junior, the sky's the limit. I mean, why not compete for a state championship next season as well? I mean, they still got a good chance this season. Let's see how far the Russell County Warriors can go.
There's not a lot of games that happen in our area, and we'll talk about the playoff game in just a moment. I promise you we're going to get to it. But Reeltown beat Lee Scott. Lee Scott finishes 5-5. They did not make the playoffs this year.
Because the
Randolph
tiebreaker.
County, Dadeville, and Beulah all made the playoffs
Right.
with Glenwood in that playoff. So the defending back-to-back AISA state champions did not make the playoffs this year, and Glenwood dominated them. So I don't even think if Lee Scott made it, they were going to make much of a difference.
No.
Sandy Creek beat Troup County. We have that on there. Upson Lee beat LaGrange. And Pacelli took care of business. Dominant defensive performance. Zion Mabry had close to 200 yards rushing. And the Vikings got a big win over Mount DeSales. Here's the thing, man. I didn't say this on the GIAA scoreboard show, but I'll say it on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. I am leaning very heavily towards picking Pacelli to upset the number 2 team, Bullock Academy. If you looked at the strength of schedule, Bullock did not play any of the top 6
No, they
teams
haven't.
in 4A. Pacelli did. They're battle tested. I think if they can go in, I know they don't have their starting quarterback, but if they can go in, not turn the football over and play good, fat, sound defense, like Brookstone did last year, I think Pacelli could upset them. And if that happens in Brookstone, where we'll be Friday, beat Stratford at home, guess what? Brookstone Pacelli semifinal. That's what we're cheering
Part
for. I'm
3.
telling you.
Wait
we
for it.
want that because guess where it's going to be on? Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
There you
But
go.
Pacelli, great win against Mount DeSales.
Yeah, and they're battling injuries. I mean, you had James Nelson go down. I mean, of course, John Thompson went down. But I liked the quarterback, Nate Davis. I think that he is just one of those quarterbacks that can manage a game. I mean, that's really all or Jason Davis, rather. That's all you ask for. In a coached team by Dwight Jones, never count them out, especially when they are in the playoffs. Brookstone got the upset last year against Bullock Academy. Why can't Pacelli get the upset against Bullock Academy in Statesboro? And by the way, we do the GIAA scoreboard show, if you've seen it on GIAA.tv at every 11 on Friday. By the way, Strong Rock ended up defeating George Walton, so they're going to be playing First Presbyterian Day.
I don't think
I
that
mean,
mattered because I think First Presbyterian is going to make. But
yeah.
it is an upset win because George
huge
Walton
upset. Anything
was
can
an
happen in
8
the
seed.
GIAA.
And we
with
have people that are
upsets.
commenting right now, and Chris Starr, Jabo Wisdom, both those guys have great sons. Chris Starr, CJ Starr, who was a dominant linebacker at Spencer. Jabo Wisdom, Jatavius Wisdom, another dominant linebacker, part of that great linebacker core of Carver. Green Waves are on the road. They'll be taking on Ringgold. As of now, that's what they're saying. That's unofficial,
It's
but
unofficial.
we will see that as the end of the regular season happens this upcoming Friday. But Pierce County lost, and so did Morgan County. So Glenwood, Carver,
Probably
it looks like going to be the number 1 team
Could we
in 2A, as they should be.
Is it possible we could see a Carver Hardaway first-round playoff match?
Is it possible that we could get Carver Spencer in a first-round playoff match? In a second-round playoff.
In the second round.
Second round. If we get that, I best believe Georgia Alabama Sports Live is going to be there.
Yeah.
That will be huge for the city. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're dropping our rankings.
There you go.
Don't want to go anywhere. It's Georgia Alabama Sports Live show. We'll be right back after this.
My name is Sergeant Jason Swells, and this is my CVCC story. Class sizes were not too large. The professors in each class had time to talk. It was almost like a one-on-one experience. One of my daughters is a student at CVCC right now. She's going through the arts program. I've got another son who's right behind her who's about to graduate school, and he's already talking about going to CV, and he's ready for it. CVCC did prepare me for my career. They made sure you knew the subject before you walked out of the class, before you took the test. They dedicated 100% of themselves to it. It was a great experience, and I could say for anybody who's deciding or thinking about going into criminal justice, CVCC has got my vote all day long because they're on top of their game.
Georgia Alabama Sports Live is proud to partner with one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock. And without this partnership, it would be hard to be able to live stream all the different sporting events at high schools, colleges, and local professional teams every single week like we do. So we thank Buffalo Rock for their support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And next time you're watching a Georgia Alabama Sports Live broadcast, make sure you're drinking a nice, refreshing Pepsi. Delicious. Thank you to Buffalo Rock and Pepsi.
Glenn Smith Chevrolet is loaded with over 500 new and used on the lot and on the way. Check out the big Chevy Silverado 2500 HDs, discounted up to $9,000 off. And you'll love the stylish SUV that has plenty of room for the whole family. Chevy Tahoe's up to $9,000 off. Come to Glenn Smith Chevrolet in Opelika for big discounts with a fantastic selection. Or explore anytime, anywhere at glennsmith.com.
Get ready to smile.
Georgia Alabama Sports Live wants to say thank you to one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock, and their partnership with everything that we do. And without business like Buffalo Rock, we wouldn't be able to go cover softball, volleyball games, every type of high school sport you can think of, local college games, and professional. So thank you to those businesses that support us, and specifically Buffalo Rock. And next time you're watching a Georgia Alabama Sports Live broadcast after a nice long day, why not enjoy it with a nice, refreshing Sorry? The best lemon lime soda around. Thank you to Sorry and Buffalo Rock for our partnership on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Welcome back. We're live from the Beck Center where we hosted the Courier Echo Latino Basketball Media Day.
There you go.
Here and had a lot of fun. Thank you to Coach Corey Black, Wayne Hales of the Courier Echo Latino, and Bryant Thomas for helping us put this on and allowing us to cover it. Thank you to Olin Kolga for being here. It was a ton of fun, Richard. And looking forward to this week on Georgia Alabama Sports Live. It's looking like it's going to drop Wednesday, our high school basketball preview show. Me, you, and Coach Black making predictions, who's winning a state championship, and more. Just like we did for football, we cannot wait to bring you. And if it's not this week, because we have so much stuff going on, it will be next week, because I promise you we're getting it in here in these first 2 weeks of the season. And again, basketball, first game, Saturday, Central at Shaw on Georgia Alabama Sports Live.
I do want to say something about this, because really we've had invested interest in basketball ever since you started live streaming it 2 years ago. This is really what we love to do. We love basketball. I mean, we love live streaming football games, but you're going to see a lot of content when it comes to basketball. We know these teams. We followed these teams. I mean, I was actually at the Hardaway Holy Innocents Episcopal Elite Eight game where we couldn't live stream it because of the NFHS network. I was there interviewing Coach Ellison at the end of the game. I mean, I know how big basketball is around this area, and I am just excited about our preview show.
I am too, and looking forward to Coach Black being a lead analyst and joining
us.
How about that? He was here all day and did a
phenomenal.
good job. We're actually
Yeah.
right now in the Glenn Smith Chevrolet GMC Coaches Corner.
So you're
where we
telling
sit-
me we're going to have Coach Black as a color commentator on Georgia Alabama Sports Live?
Yes.
Sign me up for that.
And
That
he-
is going to be phenomenal.
He'll be part of the A-team, whoever that
Oh,
A-team
man.
is. So looking forward to Coach Black joining us on our coverage of high school and college basketball and even some middle school here in Georgia Alabama Sports Live. All right, let's continue on and let's drop them. Chrissy, put it up. Here's the rankings. Number 10 at 5-5 and making the playoffs this year. Coach Johnny Gardner's second season. Number 9, the Northside Patriots. Now, remember how we do our rankings. It's best chance to win a championship in your league. We're not doing head-to-head. Throw that out. We're saying, how good of a chance in your league do you have to win a championship? How's your roster stacked up within your league? We're not asking it, how is your roster stacked up against a 7A Central? That wouldn't be fair, and we can't do it that way. We got too many private schools, small schools, big schools. It's a lot. It's a very wide range of schools that we have in our area. So how we have to do is respect it in their classifications. Northside doesn't have a chance to win it all because they got eliminated from the playoffs, but they beat Shaw. So they need to be awarded for that.
Yes.
So they're number 9. And number 8, the Vikings get to 500. And I'm telling you, I see an upset brewing this Saturday. They got a big win. This Friday. They got a big win last Friday. Pacelli 8, Northside 9, Shaw 10, all 5-5.
Yeah, I think that because all of them have the same record, you still have to factor in head-to-head with Northside over Shaw. Even though Shaw's season, they're still alive in the playoffs, I think Pacelli has a strong chance to beat Bullock Academy this week. And so I like where Pacelli is at in the ratings. And, this is a good list so far.
Number 7, and it was hard. I'm telling you, really.
Truly was hard.
4, 5, 6, and 7, it was really tough how I wanted to go about this. But Spencer has a great chance. They just don't have the best chance in their league because they were 3rd in their own region.
Right.
But what they did this year, and I think they still have a chance to upset some teams. I really think 2A's up for grabs. Remember, they only lost to Carver by 8 points. They lost to Sumter County by 1. That's combined 10 points against 2 teams that are ranked in the top 5 heading into the final week of the regular season. The Green Waves come in at number 7. They're gonna supposedly right now will be on the road. I'm hoping they may get to host a playoff game, and I'm crossing my fingers that somehow, some way, Spencer and Carver have a collision course at some point in the playoffs. And sign us up because we will be there streaming for that. I don't care how much the fee is. It can be $5,000. I'm gonna make sure I get some business to help us raise the money to be able to stream that game. That would be the biggest Heritage Bowl ever. But Spencer, number 7. This one I had the biggest tough time because, in my opinion, Brookstone has a better chance to win a state championship than Russell County or Harris County do.
True.
They both have very tough stretches, and they're not the favorite in their own classification. Brookstone's the number 3 team in 4A and GIAA, and they have just as good chances against Bullock and First Presbyterian Day and any of the other teams to win it all. But this Harris County just such a great year, and Russell County, they need to be awarded in the top 5, 8, and 2. So Spencer, number 7, Brookstone 6 is 6 and 3, 5 Russell County 8 and 2, and 4 Harris County 7 and 3.
I think that Spencer's a very balanced team when you have Elijah Fudge as your quarterback, and then on the defense, you have a player like C.J. Starr, who, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure his dad is watching. He probably had 150 tackles this season. His dad always shares his stats, so we appreciate that. Just an outstanding year for C.J. Starr, outstanding year for the Spencer Green Wave. I like where Brookstone is because you got to think of this. The 3 losses they had, one was to First Presbyterian Day in a mudfest. It was a 6-3 game. Come on. The weather just didn't want to be right. And then the other 2 games, they lost to 2 3A schools. They were probably going to be favorites to win the state championship, Valwood and Westfield School. So Brookstone.
And they both lost to them. Valwood, they lost pretty
handily
decisively.
in the beginning of the season. They're not the same team now.
Westfield, they lost on a last-second or last-minute play for a touchdown. So we're going to say, again, Brookstone 6, Russell County 5. They need to be in the top 5, Richard.
Absolutely.
And Harris County was number 2 for majority of the season. They could have easily beat Jonesboro and Central Carroll. They lost both those teams by 2 and 8
one
points
possession
respectively.
games.
And then even Sarsville, I know they lost by 21. They, in that game,
Made a lot of mistakes.
a lot of turnovers, and they easily could have won that game at home. But Harris County, number 4. Number 3 is Central Red Devils. For the first time in a couple years, they're not going to be hosting a first-round playoff match. You're going to be on the road probably for the entire playoffs.
They are.
Because Opelika was the number 2 seed and Auburn was the number 1 seed. They're the number 1 overall seed. Central at number 2. They got a playoff game this weekend, Richard.
Yes,
Against
James Clemens. And here's the thing. Central is going to be road warriors. They are probably going to run the table, win the 2 road playoff games, face Opelika in the semifinals. Because I think there's a collision course. It's going to be Central and Opelika in the semifinals. And they could possibly end up facing Auburn in the state championship because Auburn's on the other side of the bracket. Even though Central is going to be on the road, I still think Central is one of the favorites to get to the state championship and possibly win it all again.
number 2, the only undefeated team we have in our area. They are, according to Alabama Sports Writers poll, we're number 7. They should be
up.
Top 5. At least an Elite 8 or Final 4 appearance, I feel like, is in the mix. State championship's going to be tough. There's a lot of great teams, including Fife as one of those
T.R.
teams.
Miller, Gordo.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough for the
Mars
Gators.
Hill.
But why? They have just as good a chance
Yeah.
as any of the 4 teams you just made mention. They finished undefeated. They beat a couple of really good 1A schools. They beat all the 3A schools. They're in the public school sector. Glenwood comes in at number 2, and they I think will at least make it to the semifinals of the playoffs.
No question.
And the number 1 team in our area, the number 1 team in the entire state of 2A, and the best chance out of any of the teams to win a championship is the Carver Tigers. Since that loss to Harris County, which if they played again, I don't know if that'd be the same outcome, their defense has given up nothing. Justin Newman in the dark side, led by that quadruple, not trio, but I don't know, what's the word after trio? For quartet?
The quartet. That's
There we
what
go.
I'm thinking.
Quartet.
Yeah,
I knew I was going to get it right.
That's a good word.
4 linebackers that would start anywhere else in Billingsley, Hodge, Wisdom, and Watts. They are loaded. They're talented. They're dominant. And they got playmakers on the outside. Their team speed is the best. And the quarterback in Mungan does not make mistakes. He's managing games. I like this Carver team, and I like them a lot. And they're the number 1 team. 9-1 this year. What a season for Coach Pierre Coffey.
Well, you talk about that linebacking core. You also got to talk about their all-world defensive end who also plays wide receiver, Tristan Givens. I mean, every time he lines up on the line, you got to find at least a couple of blockers because, he is going to be his man to get to the quarterback. And he's also just a physical athlete that also plays wide receiver, lines up with Braylon Jakes. So Matthew Mungden has got weapons to throw the football to. He's got a duo of running backs with Jacoby Castleton and Kelston Popcorn Tarver. So they are well balanced with a high-tempo offense and then a lights-out defense. And you talk about the assistant defensive coordinator, Justin Newman, who the dark side, they have been lights out all season. These are the key ingredients to win a championship. And why not Carver? They haven't won a state championship since 2007, the years with Jarvis Jones and then Jarmon Fortson when they beat Cairo. They went to the state championship in 2021, went to the semifinals last year. Coach Pierre Coffey knows how to get his team prepared, and they're going to have several playoff games where they might be hosting a quarterfinal matchup, a semifinal matchup. I don't know how the new ratings goes. I don't know if they're going to have a GHSA coin flip. But I expect the Carver Tigers to be hosting multiple playoff games all the way, possibly. The goal is to get to Atlanta and play at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which, by the way, trying to get media credentials for that. I'm just saying.
Numbers, there is our rankings for this week, and we will take a break. When we come back, we'll preview the games we know are happening for sure on Friday and wrap up the Georgia Alabama Sports Live show. Georgia Alabama Sports Live is proud to partner with one of our presenting sponsors, Buffalo Rock. And without this partnership, it would be hard to be able to live stream all the different sporting events at high schools, colleges, and local professional teams every single week like we do. So we thank Buffalo Rock for their support of Georgia Alabama Sports Live. And next time you're watching a Georgia Alabama Sports Live broadcast, make sure you're drinking a nice, refreshing Pepsi. Delicious. Thank you to Buffalo Rock and Pepsi. Welcome back, everyone, to Georgia Alabama Sports Live, and we are excited to continue on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Again, thank you to everyone that supports what we do, and we had a lot of fun here for Basketball Media Day, and we can't wait to see how these scenes pan out here on Georgia Alabama Sports Live in the playoffs. All right, let's talk about what's coming up this week. So we said Glenwood hosts Alabama Christian. I think that's going to be a dominant performance from Glenwood.
Yes.
I think they're going to handle their business. We also know Russell County's hosting a playoff game.
Yes.
They're playing against
Northridge.
And then we got Central on the road against
James Clemens.
We got Pacelli on the road against Bullock Academy. Brookstone hosting Stratford. Harris County, Spencer, Shaw, Carver are all on byes because remember they have one more week in the regular season in the GHSA. So that's the only thing that's happening in our area. We will be streaming Brookstone and Stratford. We will be cheering on Pacelli against Bullock Academy.
Right.
And we're hoping Russell County and Glenwood both get home playoff wins. And Central needs to be World Warriors, as you made mention, Richard. And I think all those teams are going to be able to do that.
Yeah. And then you also have Beauregard that's taking on Eufaula.
That's probably the game of the week
it is, yeah.
for a lot of these TV stations around here that cover sports.
And we also got Auburn as taking on Bob Jones, and Opelika is taking on Florence. So that's pretty much, we have playoffs in Alabama, playoffs in Georgia for the GIAA. The rest of the state of Georgia is pretty much going to be on a bye if they have a full schedule. All those teams that were affected by Hurricane Helene are going to be playing a final regular season, week 13 as we'll call it, and then we'll start the GHSA playoffs on November the 15th, which we know Harris County is going to play Creekside.
Yeah.
Spencer is going to take on Ringgold.
Okay.
Those are, even though they're not official, based off of the rating system and where they have finished.
Well, 4A is official for Harris County.
4A is official.
So we know that they're going to
Yeah.
be on the road at Creekside, who went to the state championship last
But
year.
2A is unofficial.
Yeah, so they're unofficial, but it will be on the road at Ringgold. I'm taking the Green Waves. I
would
think
say,
Coach
yeah.
Kegler's team's going to make and upset quite a few teams because I think they're built with this defense and the quarterback and Fudge, who other than Hardaway, I mean, against Hardaway, he did make some uncharacteristic mistakes, but he has been sensational all year
Absolutely.
long. They also had 2 injuries of running backs. Kind of
Yes.
derailed the momentum they had when they were up 25-0. We hope that they're okay, and we'll be cheering on all the teams. And again, this week, we got a tri-match tomorrow at Harris County. We got the Kudzu Sports Show on Tuesday. We got Wednesday, tri-match flag football. It's just flag football 3 days this week.
Yeah, there you go.
Friday, Brookstone Stratford, and high school game day will be live from Brookstone Stratford too. And we'll preview all the games that are going to be happening playoff-wise this Friday. And then we will have Saturday, Shaw Central, and then we will do the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show virtually on Sunday. So make sure to like, subscribe. Thank you again for tuning in. It's been a long day. It's time for me to go home, relax. Enjoyed High School Media Day, or Basketball Media Day.
Man.
Thank you again to everyone that tuned in, and
What
we'll
a
see you
long
next
day.
time on the Georgia Alabama Sports Live Show. Good night, everyone.
Good night.